In our first news segment, we cover Stoke Space's progress on its vertical engine test stand. Our second segment is about Skyrora, the UK launch provider, and its suborbital rocket that they hope to launch in spring 2025. Thirdly, we have updates on Astroforge as they ready their asteroid prospecting spacecraft for launch later this year. And finally, the French Space Agency wants an early flight test of a prototype European spacesuit. Okay, let's get started. Stoke Space vertically launched engine test stand. In the post on the X platform, Stoke Space said, "We're putting our new vertical stage 1 engine test stand through its paces out in Moses Lake, pushing liquid hydrogen through, testing the systems and getting ready to light it up. This stand will be used to static fire the first stage engines in their launch position. Currently, the engines are fired in a horizontal position. Firing them vertically will help identify any issues or problems that occur in this configuration." Okay, on to our second story on UK launch provider preparing to launch soon. Skyrora eyes spring 2025 for suborbital launch. UK space startup Skyrora hopes to launch its first suborbital mission from British soil in the spring of 2025, following a year of delays caused by licensing issues. This would be the second launch attempt for the company's 11-metre-long Skylark L single-stage rocket, which launched from Iceland and almost reached the Kármán line, falling short by only 700 metres in October 2022. The failure was later traced back to software issues. This small suborbital rocket is needed to de-risk the larger orbital rocket called Skyrora XL. It's less expensive to find faults on a cheaper and smaller suborbital rocket first. Most space startups start with a small suborbital rocket first before building orbital rockets later. The reason they haven't flown since 2022 is not to do with any technical problems, it's to do with licensing. They can't fly from Saxford Spaceport in Scotland without a license from the UK Civil Aviation Authority. They applied for this license in August 2022, assuming because it was a small suborbital rocket, it would be easier to be granted a launch license. Unfortunately, that doesn't appear to be the case. They now expect the application to be processed by mid-December of 2024, with a suborbital launch from Saxford expected to follow shortly afterwards, most likely in spring 2025. Okay, on to our third news story this week. Astroforge updates. Astroforge, a US-based asteroid mining company, has provided updates on its website about progress on satellites that should be launching in 2024 and 2025. In July, after a vibration test setback, Astroforge completely rebuilt their spacecraft in just 4.5 months. Everything from radios and solar panels to custom power and flight control boards. In August, Astroforge secured a substantial investment of $55 million. This financial boost was immediately directed towards enhancing their capabilities in asteroid mining, particularly the extraction of precious metals. Their third spacecraft, scheduled for launch on the IM-3 mission in 2025, will attempt to deploy a 200-kilo probe on a metallic near-Earth asteroid. In September, Odin, their second satellite, underwent more thermal vacuum testing to ensure it can handle the temperature fluctuations in orbit. Remote commanding of the spacecraft was tested. The refinery tech, crucial for the future of the business, made progress with an 8-fold increase in vacuum chamber size for testing. Astroforge are in discussions with major players in the mining industry on how to use their technology to help reduce the cost of extracting precious group metals, or PGMs. As of October 2024, preparations are in full swing with the finalization of flight software, hands-on mission operation training involving the actual spacecraft, and ongoing work on their refinery technology. They are currently demonstrating high efficiency in metal recovery from terrestrial ore, which bodes well for their future in both space and Earth-based applications. We'll keep you informed about Astroforge as it nears its second mission. Okay, on to our final story for this week. The French Space Agency to flight test early prototype of a European spacesuit. The French Space Agency, CNES, wants to produce an in-flight spacesuit prototype that can be tested on the International Space Station. Spartan Space, which regular viewers of this channel will be familiar with, conducted a study for the French Space Agency on an IVA spacesuit, that's intravehicular activity spacesuit. CNES now seeks to transform the findings from this study into an initial prototype spacesuit that can be tested on the International Space Station. This testing phase aims to assess the spacesuit's comfort and mobility under microgravity conditions. Beyond just developing and testing this prototype, the project includes future objectives: refining the spacesuit design post-test, developing and enhancing a second prototype informed by the initial test outcomes, and performing additional ground-based testing. This project is scheduled to span from 2024 to 2027. In addition to a European IVA spacesuit, it looks like Europe is also considering a future European spacecraft or capsule for transporting crew to the ISS or future commercial space stations. This was hinted at previously when ESA, that's the European Space Agency, published a call for the development of cargo spacecraft that could transport cargo to and from low Earth orbit. As part of the call, ESA stated, "compatible with the evolution towards a crew transportation service." In the latest call about the European spacesuit, ESA refers to identifying what they call, quote, unknown points in the IVA spacesuit. These unknowns are caused by, and I'm quoting, "the final European spacecraft is currently being defined." This suggests that a future contract or competition for a crewed spacecraft to take European astronauts to low Earth orbit is being planned. We'll keep you informed on future developments in the European commercial space sector. For more information on Spartan Space and their spacesuit design, click on the video that should be on screen now. Okay, that's it for this week. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest news on commercial space startups around the globe, from rocket launchers to space stations, orbital tugs, lunar landers and more. If it's a commercial space startup, we cover it. See you soon.